Hi everyone, welcome to FPL Moneyball, where we use data analysis to find the best players for your Premier League team. Today we'll be doing a Fantasy Premier League GW7 team selection, and as you can see from my thumbnail, that I've decided to go triple up on Arsenal, and I'll be sharing with you in more detail about my team selection later on. But first, let's take a look at the forward options to have. There are three very good options that we have selected in terms of the expected goal involvement per 90 as well as the price per million. So the one asset that everyone probably owns right now and continues to perform very well is Erling Haaland for Manchester City. He does have the highest expected goal involvement per 90 of 1.42, which is more than double the next highest player, which is Mateta at 0.68. So he does continue to receive very big chances and good chances from a very strong City side. And they do face Brentford away this game week, which is a very mediocre fixture for them. And there is potential for Haaland to continue his current run of form. The other two players that have performed well this season so far are Isidore from Sunderland and Thiago from Brentford. Isidore and Thiago are both very decent in terms of their price per million, both scoring 4.62 and 5 points per million respectively. So they do provide much more budget options compared to Haaland. Although the downside to them is that their teams are much weaker compared to Haaland's team, and so they do have much lower expected goal involvement per 90 as well. Another thing to take note is that Thiago does face Manchester City at home this game week. So City's defense has been looking very strong lately with the signing of Donnarumma. So I do think that they have a high potential to keep a clean sheet and making it much more harder for Thiago to return this game week. Isidore faces a Manchester United team away from home this game week, which is a bit more weaker in terms of their defense. So the chance for potential attacking returns is higher, although it is still remains to be seen whether Sunderland can keep up their strong run of form this season. So moving on will be the next few forward options in the middle bucket range. They are Gyökeres, Richarlison, João Pedro, and Bowen from West Ham. So these are the players that have performed not as well as the first bucket of players. So the first player that I would like to discuss is Gyökeres, who does face a very weak West Ham United team this season, although they have made new improvements under their new manager Nuno already last game week against Everton. So I think that Gyökeres has been able to perform pretty well. His expected goal involvement per 90 stats is pretty decent at 0.51 and is the fourth in the forward so far, ranking behind Haaland, Mateta, and Wood. So he does have a lot of potential to return this game week against a West Ham defense that has been leaky at the back so far. João Pedro's stats have actually deteriorated over the past few game weeks, and his form has dropped very surprisingly after Chelsea has had a poor run of fixtures and went down to 10 men in a few game weeks in a row. So he does have still a decent points per million of 4.81, which is actually the third highest among the forwards. But his expected goals has dropped significantly. He's not getting into that as good positions as he was before, and that could be due to the poor Chelsea's run of form. So other players that could be discussed is Richarlison, who also didn't have a good game week against Wolves last game week, recording a very low expected goal involvement of 0.03, which is very, very low for the forwards. Lastly, Jerome Bowen has actually regained his form after a poor start to the season for West Ham. They did struggle in their opening games, but recently have looked better with the signing of the new manager, of course, and the changing of the tactical shape more recently. So the last forward options are Mateta, Wood, and Voltemade. Voltemade's stats actually looks deceptively bad compared to the other forwards because he has only played half the amount of games the other forwards have played. So if we extrapolate his points per million, this would actually bring him much closer towards the João Pedro side of the chart over here. So he does face a very weak Nottingham Forest team at home this game week. The new manager, Postecoglou, has actually struggled so far. He has not won any games for Forest since he was appointed as their new manager. So their performance looks to be very disappointing at the moment, and there's a potential for Newcastle, who have looked more dangerous actually in the recent game weeks from an attacking perspective, to net some returns, and Voltemada, being the head of the attack, could be able to add to his goal tallies, especially in terms of crossing and headers, against a very weak Forest side, who are also missing key defenders, Murillo and Aina, who are both out injured. Mateta also looks to benefit from the return of Ismaila Sarr from injury. He does have very good underlying stats in terms of expected goal involvement per 90, recording the second highest of 0.68, which is behind Haaland only so far this season. And I think that with the return of Sarr, he does have potential to receive better service over the next few game weeks. Lastly, Chris Wood from Nottingham Forest, as I mentioned, they haven't really been in their best form this season. Although he does have good underlying expected goals, he just hasn't been able to convert the opportunities, maybe because it's of a confidence or form issue. He really appears to be struggling under the new manager, and also could be at the back of his mind that they do have other options in forward. Igor Jesus as well could come in to replace Wood. So he doesn't look like a very strong attacking option right now at the moment. So next, moving on to the midfielders, the three standout options here will be Enzo from Chelsea, who is taking on a much more advanced position with the injury to Cole Palmer. He does have also very strong underlying stats at 0.66 expected goal involvement, which is among the higher side of the midfielders this season so far. And he does look like being able to push forward much more with the injury to Cole Palmer. The next player who has actually played already this game week is Semenyo, who scored two goals and an assist for 18 points this game week against Fulham at home. I think he's the star player this season so far, the top player in terms of points so far this season, and he continues to be in dazzling form for Bournemouth as they keep up their good performances so far. The last player is Jadon Anthony from Burnley, who also has been very surprising actually, a very strong midfield pick this season, has a 7.02 points per million already this game week, and faces a relatively weak Aston Villa team away from home this game week, who have really struggled for performance this season. So next, in the medium bucket will be Ismaila Sarr, who just came back from injury for Crystal Palace, and he does face a Everton team away from home under the manager David Moyes. So I think that Sarr's performance against Liverpool was very strong last game week. He managed to come away with a goal against a very strong Liverpool defense, and scored a expected goal involvement of 0.77 with a relatively medium points per million of 4.53 already, although he did miss a few games from injury this season. So I think that he will continue to improve from here this season, and continue his strong run of form, and that is why I've also selected him in my team this game week. The next few players will be Minte from Brighton, Njai from Everton, and Reinders from Manchester City, who all also present decent attacking returns given their price point. So moving on, the players that are less attractive at the moment are Bruno from Manchester United, who missed a penalty last game week, Kudus from Spurs, who doesn't have really good form at the moment, as well as Salah, given his hefty price tag, and he hasn't really performed well this season in terms of the underlying stats, and will be someone to actually avoid at the moment. So moving on to the defenders, there are three very strong options here, Calafiori and Timber, both from Arsenal defense, which have actually the lowest expected goals conceded this season. Very strong defense at the back, and wouldn't want to be facing a Arsenal defense if you're a forward at the moment. Lastly will be Senesi from Bournemouth, who actually already played against Fulham this game week, and he scored 2 points, didn't manage to get any defensive contribution, so a bit disappointing from his perspective this game week. But Bournemouth do have a good run of fixtures to continue on over the next few game weeks as well. So the next bucket will be two players from Palace, Lacroix and Gahey, who Palace have been keeping a relatively strong defense already this season, with expected goals conceded of 1.14, which is towards the more solid defenses this season. Also wanted to highlight Dan Burn from Newcastle, who has come in to replace Livramento, who could be out long term on injury. So Burn will be the option to replace him, and I've also made that transfer this game week because of the very strong Newcastle defense. Lastly, Alderete from Sunderland, who actually scored a huge haul over double-digit returns last game week and continues to impress for a newly promoted Sunderland side. So the last bucket will be some defenders from Liverpool, Everton, and Spurs recently, who do have a bit of a higher expected goals conceded and haven't picked up as many points as the other teams this season. So lastly, moving on to the goalkeepers. The standout options here will be Nick Pope from Newcastle with an expected goals conceded of 0.78, and Royce from Sunderland with a high points per million of 8.48. Moving on to the middle range with Vicario and David Raya from Arsenal, who are slightly more expensive but do have a bit higher points compared to some of the other options. And lastly, Pickford, who doesn't look very attractive at the moment due to Everton's defense conceding 1.37 expected goals per 90 this season so far. So lastly, moving on to the team selection, we can already see that Bournemouth have played, and I've already scored 20 points after a brace from Semenyo, who scored 18 points, as well as Senesi, who unfortunately blanked this game week. So I did make 3 transfers. They are Ivan Nilsson to Gyökeres to target Arsenal's very strong run of fixtures over the next few game weeks. And Gyökeres does look like he's improving, and his hold-up play actually against Newcastle was brilliant, and I think that he'll continue to link up and receive a lot of chances to attack with the Arsenal forwards and midfielders who look to be looking to improve on their form already this season. So next will be Bruno Fernandes to Ismaila Sarr. Sarr coming back from injury. He has already hit the ground running with a goal against Liverpool, and I do think that he also is looking to improve facing a Everton team that hasn't been very strong at the back this season. And the last transfer would be Livramento to Dan Burn. Livramento has been injured in the last game week against Arsenal, so he does face a long spell out of the sidelines, and so bringing in Dan Burn for a very strong Newcastle defense, although I'm keeping him on the bench this game week, I do think provides the cover for my defense going forward. So with that, we've come to the end of the team selection video. Hope you found this video interesting, and please remember to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for my Game Week 7 review, which will be coming on later this week. See you.